Dana White talks about FBI raid on Trump's home. Donald Trump's residence was searched, and Dana White has commented on the incident. Dana White, the CEO of the UFC and a devoted buddy and admirer of Donald Trump, thinks it was madness for the FBI to search the former president's house. The FBI just recently carried out a search warrant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago house in Palm Beach, Florida, on Monday, August 8. According to CNN, the mishandling of confidential papers brought to his residence, which might have consequences for national security, served as the justification for the search. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has never before searched a former head of state's home in American history. White was questioned about the incident at the post-fight news conference for the Contender Series.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to think about any of that stuff. Again, because I don't know enough about it. But yeah, I can think of about, without getting political right now and getting into all this fucking bullshit, but there's 10 other people's houses that probably should have been raided before his that haven't happened. So be interesting to see how this plays out.
Thanks, Dana.
Thanks, buddy.
Kamaru Usman claims McGregor's time as champion is over. Conor McGregor remains by far the most well-known figure in MMA, even if he isn't necessarily the most regular competitor in the UFC these days. This is partly because of his rehabilitation from a leg injury last summer. But most recently, Kamaru Usman gave an explanation for why he doesn't believe Conor McGregor will win the UFC title once again. Various photos of the previous two champions in training and appearing larger than ever have been used to hint at a possible comeback. Kamaru Usman gave his opinion on Conor McGregor's future potential with the UFC. Although Usman thinks McGregor will linger in the scene for some time, he will not rise again as champion. Usman argues that McGregor's main motivator, money, is no longer an incentive for him, so that has essentially killed his drive. So, even if he has the potential, he still has no clear motivation to perform well. Chael Sonnen thinks Alex Pereira defeating Israel Adesanya will be disastrous. The middleweight championship matchup between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira will take place on Saturday, November 12, 2022, at UFC 281. The event will take held at New York City's Madison Square Garden. Recently, Chael Sonnen outlined why it would be a disaster for the UFC if Alex Pereira defeated Israel Adesanya a third time. In combat sports, only Pereira's opponent has ever defeated Adesanya via knockout. According to Sonnen, though, Adesanya really cares about the UFC and his fans. He is one of the leading faces of UFC promotions, and his image needs to be crucially maintained. If Pereira manages to defeat Adesanya a third time, it will not only ruin Adesanya's position as the face of the UFC, but also jeopardize the UFC as Pereira will not be as enthusiastic and giving to the sport. This, Sonnen argues, is because Pereira having no real interest in the franchise, only viewing it and the sport as means to making money and nothing more.
Whatever drive and motivation and hard work and tricks that he pulled to get to this spot, trust me, they're going to be less once he gets to that spot. And he didn't do any of them then. So we're going to keep telling the story. We're going to make sure this is special for these guys. We're going to make sure that we have a little bit of fun along the way. But if you're asking me, the question is, Pereira the fight that Adesanya needed, for what?
Makhachev responds to Oliveira. As the UFC comes to Fight Island, Islam Makhachev can't wait to wrestle Charles Oliveira. The UFC 280 main event on October 22 will feature the two undebatably top lightweights in their class as they battle it out for the unoccupied championship. However, the journey to this point has been rather erratic and unclear for everyone, and Makhachev is simply pleased that everything is now formal in light of Oliveira's new interest in taking a new, less equitable course. Makhachev believes that he is the best choice for Oliveira so far, as he has seen quick success in his career. However, with Oliveira putting fights with Makhachev under the table at the moment, Makhachev thinks it is unfair. According to Makhachev, it is demeaning for Oliveira when he asks for fights against Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor, since both those fighters, according to Makhachev, are fading names. He is agitated about Oliveira asking for higher compensation as the cost for fighting Makhachev.
Like
arrogant because they change something, but these guys say if Islam want, we can fight if we can start this fight in the ground, or we can start in the grappling. He don't give me respect. That's why I say about him something. Now he say his team and he like arrogant. I don't know. I don't understand it. Yeah.
I mean, last week's card was incredible. Last weekend, incredible card. You know, obviously that is a massive win for that guy, and not just the win, but the way that he did it. And yeah, we love him.
Moreno's coach doesn't think fourth battle with Figuereido is in the cards. James Krause has always said that he never aspired to become a world champion, but rather to train one throughout his time as a competitor and a coach. He got the opportunity to accomplish it at UFC 277 since he was training Brandon Moreno for the provisional flyweight belt. Krause found the moment to be unreal when the Mexican finally succeeded in defeating Kai Kara France through third-round TKO. Brandon Moreno will likely face Deiveson Figueiredo in his fourth fight after winning the interim flyweight championship. James Krause, however, does not believe that Figueiredo will return to flyweight and once again defend his title. Jan Blachowicz calls out new champ Jiri Prochazca. Jan Blachowicz has persisted in pushing for his next match to be a championship challenge. Jiri Prochazca was initially slated to face the previous light heavyweight champion until the current champion changed his mind and demanded a rematch with Glover Texeira. Prochazca changed his mind after considering his victory against Texeira. Blachowicz is the main guide for a championship opportunity because the champion has to establish his legitimacy in a rematch. Blachowicz still has a chance. Texeira could not be fully recovered in time for Prochazca's battle before the year concludes. In this situation, the previous champion from Poland may win the championship if a heated competition develops. Sean O'Malley on Petr Yan's approach to their upcoming matchup. Against October 22 in Abu Dhabi, Petr Yan will take on Sean O'Malley. Many have attempted to wrestle with O'Malley in bouts due to his smooth hitting technique and impressive record of knockout victories. O'Malley, on the other hand, doesn't really anticipate Yan to try since he believes it won't be simple for him. After accidentally poking Munoz in the eye, the fight ended in a no contest for O'Malley versus Munoz at UFC 276 in July. After eliminating 3 opponents in a row previous to the Munoz bout, O'Malley believes he was beating Munoz and that the move-up versus Yan was entirely deserved. The finest striker in the UFC, in O'Malley's opinion, won't allow Yan to get close enough for a grapple. O'Malley's confidence apparently comes from Yan's short height. Jones congratulates Texeira for being the only fighter to succeed after fighting him. Jon Jones is regarded by many as being among the finest fighters in UFC history and the only one from the modern age, despite the fact that he isn't technically undefeated due to a disqualification defeat as well as a no contest. Jones has faced some of the top competitors in the light heavyweight class, and he always manages to prevail. Therefore, Jones' praise is taken quite seriously. Glover Texeira is the only one of Jones' opponents who has survived following their battle. Upcoming fight cards. With another fight night right around the corner, here's a quick update on who's fighting who. We have Marlon Vera squaring off against Dominic Cruz as the main event on Saturday. The co-main event will see Nate Landwehr fighting David Onama in the featherweight division. Meanwhile, the women's strawweight fight has Yasmin Jauregui going up against Yasmin Lucindo. In the light heavyweight division, we will see Devin Clark and Azamat Murzakanov go at it, and Bruno Silva will take up Gerald Meerschaert in the middleweight category. The fight between Alexa Grasso and Viviane Araujo was cancelled. That is all we have for today's video, folks. If you want to stay updated about everything related to the UFC, do consider subscribing to our channel. Stay tuned.